Vince Harry looked like a man completely lost during that BBC interview, drained, paranoid, and oddly detached from reality. The cheerful royal the public once loved seemed like a shadow of his former self buried under layers of confusion and emotional fatigue. You didn't need to be a therapist to see something was deeply wrong, and Thomas Markle Jr. didn't hold back when asked what or rather who he thought was responsible for this collapse. And his answer was blunt: Meghan. According to him, she's not. Just influencing Harry, she's orchestrating him from the outside. It's almost like watching a movie unfold, except it's Meghan writing the script, casting herself as a modern-day Diana, and Harry as her loyal but broken co-star. Every public appearance, every interview, every statement feels rehearsed. It's as if Harry's lines are handed to him before he steps in front of Mike. That level of control, if real, is terrifying, and it explains a lot. The man who once had a cheeky grin for every camera now looks like he hasn't had a genuine moment of joy in years. But here's the chilling part: Harry didn't used to be like this. He was a prince everyone adored. He was wild, yes, but also full of life. You'd see him joke with the public, dance at festivals, even fight for good causes with real fire in his eyes. Now he talks like he's in a constant state of war with his family, the media, and even his own country. He's paranoid, convinced there's some massive conspiracy keeping him unsafe, afraid that history will repeat itself and Meghan or his kids will end up like Diana. And whereas Meghan in all this posting away, gushing about her kids, promoting her lifestyle brand, and pushing out another painfully dull podcast episode about her morning routine, it's almost disturbing. While Harry is spiraling publicly, Meghan's online presence is a steady stream of "I'm living my best life." She says she's never been happier. That contrast is hard to ignore. It paints a picture that's hard to shake. One person living in a fantasy, while the other quietly crumbles behind the scenes. Tom doesn't mince words. He says his sister is obsessed with being Diana, not just admiring her, but actively trying to become her, ordering domains, giving cryptic interviews, and crafting a narrative where she's the misunderstood princess fighting a cruel system. But Diana had warmth, Diana had empathy. Meghan and Tom says only as ambition. She's calculated, performative, everything she says and does feels like it's meant for the camera. According to Tom, they become pawns in this whole charade. No one in the family's ever seen them, not Meghan's father, not even King Charles. And that's not just sad, it's deliberate. The kids are used as leverage, a tool to control the narrative. Meghan talks endlessly about family, but cuts out every relative who doesn't fit the script. Her father, the man who worked insane hours to pay for her education and launch her acting career, ghosted her siblings, ghosted everyone who knew her before the fame gone. The warning signs were there early. Tom remembers when Meghan divorced her first husband, Trevor. No explanation, no closure, just mailed the ring back and disappeared. Trevor, who worshipped her, was tossed aside the moment he was no longer useful. And now Tom sees the exact same pattern playing out with Harry: controlled, minimized, and eventually maybe discarded, because that's the pattern. Use, rise, drop. It happened with Trevor, happened with her own family. And some believe it's just a matter of time before it happens again. There's this moment that sticks out when Harry claimed his own father, King Charles, and unnamed government figures didn't want him protected, that they might want him dead, that if he ever returned to Britain with Meghan, and the kids' tragedy could strike Diana style, it wasn't just dramatic, it was surreal. Who even thinks like that? Who accuses their own family of such things without a shred of proof? And more importantly, who planted that idea in his head? To Thomas Markle Jr., the answer is obvious. He sees Meghan's fingerprints all over the paranoia, the conspiracy, talk, the carefully chosen words. It all feels like part of a larger performance, a twisted fantasy, where Meghan gets to rewrite history with herself in the starring role. And Harry, he's not just her co-star, he's the script reader, the delivery guy, the prop, and that paranoia about security. It's not just about feeling safe. It's control. Meghan and Harry have built an entire media narrative around being victims, denied protection, mistreated by the royals, bullied by the press. But the more people dig, the less it holds up. The Queen herself reportedly requested they drop the HR titles to avoid commercial exploitation. And Meghan ignored that. She kept using on websites promotion materials wherever she could for what vanity, probably prestige. She loved the title more than the family. Behind it, that's what really burns a monarchy gave her a platform, and she turned it into a stage. Meghan didn't want to be part of the royal family. She wanted to own it. She showed up with Hollywood polish. And a PR team ignored the traditions and bulldozed the rules. It wasn't about service or duty. It was about visibility, headlines, branding. And when the palace pushed back, she flipped the script and cried oppression. Meanwhile, her real family got erased. Tom says it started long before the wedding. Meghan's attitude began shifting after college, especially during her time in Canada. By the time she had been invited to college, especially during her time in Canada, she became cold, dismissive, even cruel. The way she spoke to her father changed. Suddenly, the man who paid for her education and gave up everything to support her dreams was beneath her. She didn't need him anymore. So she acted like he didn't exist. The same thing happened to her first husband, Tom. Remembers Trevor, clearly gentle. Respectful, loved Meghan deeply, but one day with no warning, she just sent his wedding ring back to the mail. No talk, no explanation. Just cut him off. Why? Because she was moving up and he wasn't part of the plan anymore. It wasn't personal. It was strategy. And that's the dangerous part. Meghan doesn't seem to process relationships like normal people do. Everything feels transactional. The moment someone stops serving her image, she drops. Them, her siblings gone, her dad gone, Trevor gone. Old friends gone. She's building the storybook version of her life, carefully edited for public consumption. Everything else gets cropped out. But Harry, he's not easy to crop. He's a royal. He's the link, the bloodline, the reason anyone pays attention. And that's why Tom believes Meghan won't leave him, yet not until his value runs out, not until there's nothing left to gain. But once the titles are stripped, once William makes that move, it'll all change. No titles, no relevance, no leverage. That's when things will really get interesting. That's when Harry might finally see what everyone else already has when all falls apart. And Harry might be left standing in the ruins of a life he barely recognizes. And the saddest part, everyone around him saw it coming. Thomas Markle Jr. warned him. He even wrote a letter before the wedding begging Harry to take a step back and think he told him that if Meghan could turn on her own family without hesitation, she'd do the same to him. He wasn't being cruel, he was being honest. But Harry, smitten and swept up in the whirlwind, didn't listen. Now he's paying for it. Harry's isolation isn't an accident, it's by design. Tom believes Meghan systematically cut off every person who could have kept Harry grounded, his brother, his father, his friends. She built a bubble around him, filled with her voice, her ideas, her plans inside. That bubble, Harry doesn't just lose perspective, he loses himself. What's left is a man who repeats talking points like a puppet, shows up in interviews like a ghost, and smiles only when photographers pay to catch it. Then there's the tragedy of the children. Archie and Leek have never met their grandfather, King Charles. They've never met their grandfather, Thomas. Either the family tree is sliced at the roots, all for control. Meghan says it's about safety, but Tom calls it what it really is. Manipulation, using children as leverage, shielding them from both sides of the family, keeping them tucked away like royal bargaining chips. It's not protection, it's power over everyone who dares to speak out. And now, as Meghan's public image continues to slide, the desperation is starting to show. Her latest projects, lifestyle products, podcasts, rebranded websites feel forced and frantic. They're polished, sure, but soulless. They scream, "Look at me," while the audience quietly scrolls past. It's all branding with no heart. She's trying to become a billion-dollar lifestyle mogul without realizing the things she's missing. Can't be bought authenticity. The talk of reconciliation will come eventually. Meghan will try to spin the reconnecting with family arc, maybe on camera, maybe in a glossy doc series. Dom's already bracing for it. He knows any attempt to reconnect won't be real. It'll be a stunning moment to milk sympathy, not a genuine effort to heal. She's done it before, and she'll do it again. It's how she operates. Burn the bridge, then sell the redemption story when it suits the brand. As for Harry, Tom has just one message for him: wake up. He's not being dramatic. He's genuinely worried, not just because Harry's lost touch with his family, but because he's losing himself. The man who once lit up rooms now disappears into shadows. There's nothing left of the confident, cheeky prince who laughed at himself and loved his people. All that's left is someone who looks tired, trapped, and afraid to speak out of turn. Tom's prediction is clear. Once the royal titles are officially stripped, Meghan's calculation will shift. Without the Duke and Duchess brand, Harry becomes less useful. No more royal cash, no more headlines, no more weight to her name. That's when Tom believes Meghan will walk quietly or publicly dramatically, or discreetly she'll leave, and Harry will be left with nothing, no titles, no family, no identity, just a harsh spotlight. And the echo of choices he never truly made for himself, and the world will watch not out of schadenfreude, but because this was never a fairy tale. It was a cautionary tale and real. Time, and it's still unfolding.